What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. Hope we're in the festive move like I am with the holidays approaching us. But let's get started. The Heisman race came to a head the other day. Travis Hunter from University of Colorado, of course, was named the Heisman Trophy winner. He was a two-way guy this year for the University of Colorado Buffalo as a wide receiver. He had 92 catches for over 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. As a corner, he had 32 tackles, 4 receptions, and 11 pass defenses. I don't understand, guys. Okay, I don't understand. People have tried to make the case for Hunter. I don't understand. Ashton Jeanty had an historical year. He ran for 2,497 yards, almost 2,500 yards. I think it's the second most ever in the season ever. The only guy who had more was Barry Sanders of Oklahoma State. That's considered one of the 5 greatest seasons ever by any college football player ever. He had over 7 yards a carry, 29 rushing touchdowns for him. He had 344 carries. He set a Mountain West record, so a school record. You know, he's the most yards by any player ever in that conference. He had I think 17 halves this year, halves, where he had over 100 yards in one half. He had by far the most 100-yard games, 200-yard games of any player, and half as well of any player this season. The guy had a historic year, and he gets nicked by Travis Hunter. I got it. He plays both ways, but he wasn't the best at either side of the ball. I'm sorry. I know he won the award for best receiver. He should not have won it. The kid from Michigan State had a better year from the kid from Arizona State, McMillan, who's probably maybe a top receiver drafted in April. I thought he had a better year than Travis Hunter, so no. And I don't think he should have won the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year either. He wasn't the best defensive player in that conference. He couldn't have been. I mean, the Big 12 is not a lot of defense there, so it's not even saying a whole lot. But he's not the best at receiver or at corner. And I like him as a talent. I think he's being a little overhyped, a little overrated. I think he didn't play at Colorado. He would not be getting as much hype. But I still think he's a really good player. I think he'll be a very good talent at the next level. Do not play both ways full time. Please don't do that. You will be out of the league in 4 years. Your body will break down on you. But if he does it right, he could be an excellent player, an all-pro level guy at the next level. And I expect him to be a high pick. He might go first overall, depending on who gets the first overall pick. I mean, it'll probably be a quarterback because right now it looks like it's going to be the Raiders or the Giants getting that pick. But I'd be shocked if he gets past the 5th pick. I think he should be a little more close to a top pick than a top 5 guy, but he will probably not get past pick 5. Again, that depends on who comes out this year. But, I do think Ashton should have won the Heisman. We had a little bit of highway robbery there. To basketball, there's a trade that happened the other day. It might have actually been yesterday. The Warriors acquired Dennis Schroeder from the Brooklyn Nets. They get him and a second-round pick this year. They send D'Anthony Melton and 3 seconds in 26, 28, and 29 to the Brooklyn Nets. I think it was a solid trade for the Warriors. D'Anthony Melton, that they brought him in this year to be the backup point guard for Stephen Curry. Steph is getting much older. He's had some injury problems in recent years. We want to keep him fresh and healthy, especially come playoff time. And Melton's been hurt. He's out for the season. He only played 6 games this year. Schroeder's had a really good year. He's been in the league for a while. This is his 11th year in the league. He's bounced around the league. He's always been a very solid number 2 point guard. This year is having one of the best years of his career statistically, averaging 18 points a game this season, along with 6 assists. He is shooting 38% from the 3-point range, 44% from the field this year. So he's having a very good season, shooting almost 89% from the free throw line and 3.5 attempts per game. He's been very good. I don't think his number will be exactly that. I mean, for his career, he's averaged 14 points a game for his career. He's averaging almost 18.5 this year. Brooklyn's really got nobody over there that can really score. Outside of Cam Thomas, there isn't a whole lot there. Now Mikal Bridges now to the New York Knicks, of course, that was an all-season trade that they made. And Schroeder, so he's playing it. He's playing every game. He's been their starting point guard up to this point. He's getting the ball a lot more. So if you won't obviously now going to come off the bench for the Warriors, I assume. So I can't imagine that 18 points a game is going to continue. He's a very solid number 2 point guard. He's a good scorer. He's a pretty good 3-point shooter. He's a good passer. I do think he's an upgrade over D'Anthony Melton, especially with Melton hurt. So kind of a confusing trade for the Nets. Okay, look, they're not that good. I guess Melton is younger than Schroeder, I believe. Though that being said, he's hurt. and you get back 3 future seconds, you give up one, so you grab an extra. You lose a second round pick this year, but now you have three extra seconds down the line. So playing the long game, I guess it's better, but like in the NBA, second round picks very rarely turn into really anything. That's why, Nikola Jokic is so rare, turn into a star. Like, forget Nikola Jokic. It's where you even get, like, like Jalen Brunson being a borderline star player. Being, I would say, top 15 player in the league when he's full, when he's at the top of his game. Like, that's beyond rare. Like, even get a guy like, like a role player can be kind of rare. Even outside of lottery is rare. So, I'm not sure, what they're expecting out of those picks. Weird, but even though they hadn't, and the Nets haven't even played that bad. They've actually been better than we thought. Most of us, including myself, thought they would be a bottom three team in the league. They would win more than probably 25 games, and the team's horrible. They were already bad with Mikal Bridges. Then you trade him away for draft picks. Granted, they got a lot of picks back, but still, for Bojan Bogdanovic and draft picks, your team definitely got worse, and you're already not very good. Last year, what, 11th in the Eastern Conference, 12th in the Eastern Conference? I mean, if you can't make the play-in, you can't be that good, could you? I mean, the last team in the Eastern Conference is not even 500th, and you're like the first or second team out. Yeah, you're a bad team. But they've been pretty solid this year. They're like hovering around 500. They're right there in the play-in. But clearly that they are viewing as not serious about competing for a playoff spot because they just traded their starting point guard having one of the best years of his career for an injured backup point guard and a couple draft picks. So we're from that. I mean, Sean Marks is not a good GM. That's been proven to me. Dave Melton's not a bad player. I mean, his first career is 9 point a game score for his career now in his sixth season in the league. He was averaging 10 points a game, shooting 37% from three, almost 6 attempts a game. Player hurt, but again, he's hurt, so he doesn't do anything for you. So you basically got 3 second round picks. We should trade Shore a second this year for 3 future second round picks. So that's exactly why Sean Marks is not a very good general manager. Like, it's clowned on literally all the time. And one more move in the NBA. Sixers lose Jared McCain. He just had knee surgery. He had a lateral meniscus tear. Had to have surgery. He's going to be out indefinitely. We're not sure how long he'll be out. But he was making his case to be the favorite for Rookie of the Year so far. I was averaging 15 points a game on 38% shooting from three-point range. He's very bit of an oddball. Does all those weird TikToks, but the kicking ball, he was a first-round pick this year. I think it was the 15th or 14th pick, something like that. But he had been really bowling out. Now, Embiid's got another injury, something like a sinus fracture or something. I don't know what that is. He didn't play in his last game. Not sure when he's coming back. Paul George been in another lineup, so that's looking like a disaster in Philly. I knew that one was going to crash and burn, but Embiid, Paul George. I mean, Embiid's a overrated star who can't stay healthy. Paul George, two overrated stars who are overpriced and can't stay healthy and don't produce in the playoffs, or a lot of times they're hurt in the playoffs. We're just Tyrese Maxey and then hoping our rookie McCain perform like this, and although he had, that's looking like it's going to be a disaster. They can play a little bit better, but still, this is looking like it's going to crash and burn very fast. All right, so MLB free agency continues. Some more moves were made. A couple of trades happened over the last week. The Cubs get Kyle Tucker from the Houston Nationals, a big move for them. They send Isaac Paredes, Hayden Wesniewski, and Cam Smith the other way to Houston. Tucker is an incredible player, very underrated. Doesn't quite get the recognition he deserves because he plays, with Jose Altuve and all those other big names. Jordan Alvarez, we get some more headlines in Houston, but he's a stud. You look at his last few seasons. 2021 hit 294, 30 homers, 92 RBIs, with a 917 OPS. The year after that in 22. He's been all-star each of the last 3 years in 2022. 257, 30 homers, 107 RBIs, 808 OPS. In 2023, hit 284, 29 homers, 112 RBI, which led the league. 886 OPS. This year only played 78 games, then he got hurt. Before getting hurt was an all-star, hit 289, 20 homers, 49 RBIs, and 993 OPS. Tucker's one of the best outfielders in the game. He also was a great defender. He's an absolute star. I know some of you Yankee men are trying to say he's better than Juan Soto. Let's calm down. So is an exceptional talent, but he is an incredible player, Kyle Tucker. He's one of the best outfielders in all of baseball. He's good for 20, he's good for 30 homers, 90 to 100 plus RBIs. He's going to hit for a high average, going to hit 270, 280, 290. He's going to get on base at a decent clip. He's a Gold Glove caliber outfielder. He's one of the best players in baseball. That is a huge pickup for the Cubs, who really needed another bat in that lineup, especially with them shopping Cody Bellinger as well as Saya Suzuki. And then you can see what they give up. First piece going the other way is Hayden Wisniewski. He's a pitcher, definitely worth giving up. Last 2 years, has been okay as a swingman. In 23, 34 games, 11 starts, 4.63 ERA, 89 in the third. Last year, in 28 games and 7 starts, 67 2/3, 3.86 ERA. So he's been a solid swingman. Going to be 27 next year, so there'll be a pitcher that I'm sure will be on the Houston WWE roster day one. Isaac Peretti, who partially led it from, he's the main piece. He's turned into a very good player. He had 31 homers in 2023 with the Rays, along with 98 RBIs at 250. Last year, started with Tampa, couple of surprising trade to trade Christopher Morel for him at the deadline to get him from the Rays. Last year, overall, in 153 games between Chicago and Tampa, 238, 19 homers, 80 RBIs last year. He struggled upon coming to the Cubs. Only hit 228 for 633 OPS, 3 homers, 25 RBIs, and 179 at bats. But mainly at third base, but can play all over the field. He's got a lot of power. He goes to Houston. I wonder if this means they think they're going to lose Alex Bregman, because Price is mainly a third baseman. And the prospect going the other way is Cam Smith. That's the prospect going the other way to Houston. He's a third baseman slash left fielder. Mimi at third base has not played much outfield really since he got to the minor leagues. But did play a little bit of outfield in college, but he's a third baseman. But he had a great year in the minor leagues last year. He was drafted actually very recently. He was a first-round pick by the Cubs only this past season. So he's very, very talented with a 14th overall player. Ray levels last year was in a low A, high A, and double A last year. Ended up hitting 313 in 115 at bats between high A, low A, and double A. And his numbers were the lowest at double A. He hit 313 in low A, high, hit 333 at 263 in double A, but only had 19 at bats. So he's a guy probably 2-ish years away. Not sure we'll see him this year, but but it's not out of the question, considering how fast he progressed and the talent that the kid has. But definitely 2026 is probably the very good landing point to see Cam Smith in the major leagues for the Houston Astros. So it's a decent return for the Astros. You get back a very good player in Paredes who could be a solid middle of the order threat for you right now. Paredes is still young. He's got a couple years of arbitration left, on his contract. Only going to be 26 years old this season. You could get back a very good third base prospect in Cam Smith. You could possibly move into the outfield if you need to, though Paredes is very versatile. So you can always put Smith at third, whether it's this year or next year or whatever, and move Isaac Paredes if you so need. Also, you never know. Maybe Alex Bregman comes back and we'll see what happens. He's obviously only going to be 2 this season. He's not reached the major leagues yet. And then you bring in a pitcher in with Wisniewski, who you would slot your bullpen or in the rotation. This is an okay trade. Tucker's a great player. They say he's also a free agent to be, so sure that was a little bit limited, but big pickup for the Chicago Cubs. Yankees also made a move. They get Devin Williams, all-star closer from the Brewers. They said Nestor Cortez and infield prospect Caleb Duran, or Durden, I forgot how you say that. Let's double check. The other way to the Milwaukee Brewers, and the correct it's Caleb Durbin is who goes the other way to the Brewers. Williams is a great closer. He's developed into one of the best arms in the game out of the bullpen for the Brewers over the last few years. In the pandemic year, burst onto the scene. Gave just 1 earned run in 27 innings in his first full season in the pandemic year. Had a 2.5 ERA in 58 games as a settlement behind Josh Hader in 21. And 22 as an all-star. Had 1.93 ERA in 65 games. He had 96 strikeouts in 16 2/3 innings. Started as a setup guy. Then Josh Hader was traded at the deadline in a very odd trade. He ended up saving 15 games. They are 23. 61 games was just untouchable. 1.53 ERA that year, 87 strikeouts against 28 walks and 58 2/3. This past year, a lot of injuries, missed a good chunk of the year after an injury in spring training. But 22 games, 1.25 ERA, 21 and 2/3, 38 strikeouts against 11 walks. He does have a knock on him. He's not been good in the playoffs. In the wild card game against the Nationals a bunch of years ago, he blew a 2-run lead in the eighth inning. Remember, it was actually Juan Soto who had that big hit to bring in 2 runs. Trent Grisham misplayed the ball in right field. This past year, Game 3 of the wild card against the Mets gave up a go-ahead 3-run homer while up 2-0 to Pete Alonso, which knocked the Brewers out of the playoffs. And he's also a couple of years, twice he's been injured. He got injured right before the playoffs. He was not available for his team, so he's not been good in the playoffs. He's not been available in the playoffs. So that's definitely a knock on him. But at least in the regular season, he's developed into one of the best closers in all of baseball. Just the postseason success isn't there. So definitely a good pickup for the Yankees. Definitely needed a closer. Clay Holmes struggled mightily last year. Of course, he left to go sound the Mets. Lou Weaver did do a good job closing down the stretch for the Yankees last year, but he's not really a closer. Not sure how that would work over a full season. And they got then Nestor Cortez. Cortez had a weird career. Came up as like a deaf guy, bounced around, wasn't very good. Actually, one of them was with the Yankees in 2019. Came back to the Yankees in 2021. In 22 games and 14 starts, had a 2.9 ERA in 93 innings. Had a breakout year in 2022, 2.44 ERA in over 20 starts, 158 in the third. Had a rough year in 2023. 12 starts, ERA of 4.97. A lot of injuries, only 63 in the third that year. This year had a good year. Made 30 starts. Had a 3.77 ERA, 174 in the third, 160 strikeouts and 39 walks. Did not finish strong though. He got hurt at the very end of the season. Missed the last few weeks of the season, and then missed some time in the playoffs. And then the first time we didn't see him again until Game 1 of the World Series, where Aaron Boone clownishly brought him in to face Freddie Freeman with the bases loaded in extra innings in the World Series, and of course he gave up the go-ahead the game-winning grand slam. But he had a good year last year. He's obviously fan favorite. He's got that very just glorious mustache. I just say he's got a great mustache. When healthy, he's over the last 3 years, for the most part, been a very good starting pitcher. I think he fits well in Milwaukee. He'll be a solid starter for the Brewers. And Durbin's a nice piece to pick up as well. He was actually expected to be the everyday at third baseman for the Yankees this year. He's a talented kid, was drafted in 2021, 14th round by Atlanta. Eventually gets sent over to the Yanks. This past year, started in all over 3 levels between A-ball, AA, and AAA. Hit 275, 10 homers, 60 RBIs. Mainly a third baseman, but can also play second base as well as shortstop and even the outfield. Like for example, this year he played, moves mostly third base, but also played some second, some short. Even played a little bit of the outfield. So he's a very, very versatile. He's a good hitter. Milwaukee already has probably the best defensive second baseman in the game, Bryce Turang. Maybe do you put Durbin at short? Do you put him at third? We'll see what they do. You just lost your shortstop, Willie Adames, in free agency. So, but Durbin, I think there's a chance he ends up on the opening day roster. There's definitely a shot. He was in AAA last year. That's where he finished. He played most of the year last year. At 287, 10 almost 60 RBIs and 310 at bats in AAA. So I think there's a very good chance that he ends up as the opening day third baseman, at least on the opening day. So I went out for Milwaukee Brewers. So on the surface, it looked like just fleecing by the Yankees. As you zoom out, this is actually a pretty solid return for the Brewers. They declined his option. They clearly, were looking to continue to cut salary. Even last year, you trade Corbin Burns to the Orioles for just two or three players. Not pretty close to the right before the season. You move him. You let go of Rowdy Tellez. Obviously you were forced to make a manager and GM change because Council's contract was up, and he left to go to the Cubs. And Stearns, the Mets hired Stearns to be the president of baseball operations. We knew he was probably going to be leading for a couple of years, David Stearns. So you make a promotion to Pat Murphy. Your manager make an in-house promotion when it comes to your front office. And then you send Corbin Burns to Baltimore. You let go of Robbie Tellez. And obviously Brandon Woodruff was injured the whole season, something they knew going in. And Devin Williams missed the entire first half of the year, and then some. And now it seems to be continuing as Luz will be Adamas and Ferranti, and now Devin Williams you sent him to the New York Yankees. So good trade. Yankees. There was one more trade that happened in baseball. The A's. I'm also the Oakland A's, but they don't play Oakland anymore, so I can't. The Sacramento A's, I guess. Is that what they're going to be? The Vegas, yeah, they play in Vegas. Jeffrey Springs has been sent from the Rays to I just call them Oakland. To the A's, they're just being called the A's. That's what's going to happen until they pick an actual location. Him and Jacob Lopez go to the Athletics. 3 prospects go the other way to the Tampa Bay Rays. Jeffrey Springs is a really good young starting pitcher. He burst onto the scene in 2021, 43 games out of the bullpen, 3.44 ERA. Was mainly a starter in 22 with the Rays, but the Rays have that very odd way of using their pitchers, so like the opener thing. 33 games and 25 starts in 2022, 2.46 ERA, 135 in the third, 144 strikeouts against 31 walks. 2023 got off to a great start, but then had Tommy John surgery in April, came back late last year in 7 starts, pitched well, 3.27 ERA in 33 innings, 37 strikeouts against 11 walks. He came up a little late. Took a little while to get to the show. He is going to be 32 years old next year, but doesn't have too much mileage on that you would think from a 32-year-old pitcher. There's a lot less compared to what most 32-year-old starting pitchers have on them already. He's got a couple years left of arbitration. It's a big pickup for the A's who have been adding to their pitching staff. He went out and signed Luis Severino. He went out and traded for Springs, and apparently they were looking at Shulman Nye. Apparently they made him an offer. Jacob Lopez is just a kind of a throw-in. Last year only, and he has not made he's been in the minor leagues basically his whole career. Only pitched 4 games last year for the Rays. Let's look at the prospect going back to Tampa. First one is Joe Boyle for the getting sent to Tampa. He's a right-handed pitcher. Hasn't shown a whole lot to this point. It was a 5th rounder in 2020 by the Reds. But the Reds, he's only pitched in. He's got 13 career starts at the big league level, a 5.2 ERA. Only going to be 25, but to this point has not been a very good starting pitcher at this level through 2 partial seasons with the A's. Will Simpson's is a first baseman going the other way. He's probably the highlight of it. He hit last year between high and double, hit 282, 18 home runs, 90 RBIs. Yeah, 378 on base and 860 slugging. Now, he's probably the main prospect that goes the other way. He's still only going to be 23 next year. And then the last piece of his trade going the other way to the Tampa Bay Rays was Jacob Waters. He's another right-handed pitcher. Last year he spent some time with the A's. He was in AAA. He started in high A. Eventually he got to AAA. Right in the minor leagues. It was in high A for most of the year. Made 10 starts on a 5.4 ERA. Made pitched 1 game in AAA, and then never quite made it to the majors. I mean, he started in high A. It's gonna be very hard to do, but the guy had a 5.5 ERA in the minor leagues last year. So I'm not really sure what they're expecting out of him. So this is a great trade for the Athletics. You get a controllable, very effective starting pitcher. You give up a hitting prospect who's pretty good, and then just 2 young pitchers who really aren't all that good. Joe Webb last year had an ERA over 6 in 10 starts in 13 games. Jacob Waters had an ERA over 5 in AAA in the minor leagues and in AAA last year. He's still only going to be 20 season, but that's a very good trade. And a bit of a confusing one for the Rays, but a very good trade for the Athletics. All right, let's recap the NFL this week. It was week 15. First Sunday Night Football. Rams beat the 49ers in a snooze fest. 12-6. Not a single touchdown was scored in this game. God, the 49ers, they are just cooked. Now 6-8 on the season. They are just absolutely cooked. Brock Purdy struggled in this game, just 140 yards and the 1 interception in this game. God. I've heard that he's been extended now. And he shouldn't. That guy shouldn't be the highest paid quarterback in the league. Are you kidding me? That guy's average at best. He's going to look at the team he's got. He's still underperforming to an extent this year, but God, that team is done. Purdy hasn't been playing well. Debo has had just a horrible year. You had guys on both sides in that other lineup. You just got Dre Greenlaw back from Fungus, but now was out most of the year. Ayuk is obviously on injured reserve. Hasn't not played much this year. So a disaster. But Ram, big win for them. They get to 8-6. Obviously, that's a huge win. The Rams have been playing really well. Stafford gets the job done. Big game from Kyron Williams. So big win for the Rams. And I got to talk about Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell, you are a bum, okay? You quit on the team. You didn't want to go in because you didn't feel like it, because you didn't like that a better linebacker and Drake Greenlaw is back from injury and playing over you. That is the stupidest and most pathetic thing I have ever heard. And look, he's a very good player. He's been in the league for a while. He was in Atlanta for a while, was very good. Was an all-pro in Green Bay. He's been good this year for the 49ers in place of injured Drake Greenlaw. And you want to win because you don't feel like it? What is wrong with you? You get paid all this money and you're that arrogant and that pathetic and that entitled. Okay, shame on you. He's been suspended for the last 3 games of the year. I think that's because the reason they're not cutting him because they save some money if they suspend him and don't cut him. But good. I don't want to see him on the field at all. He's not deserved to be in the NFL when you're doing that. That might end his career. That is just pathetic. He should be embarrassed. Bunker Campbell should be embarrassed. That is just pathetic. Kyle Shanahan said he didn't want to play football. A lot of his teammates called him out from Travarius Ward to George Kittle, and they all said, yeah, he's probably going to get cut. That's not what we do here. And it's not. Like that's terrible, 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 terrible. And Devondre Campbell should be embarrassed. He's a bum. He's just absolutely pathetic. Cowboys over the Panthers, 30-14. Cooper Rush played very well. That Panthers defense is very bad. Dallas gets a 6-8. Cameron gets 3-11. Bryce Young had 4 turnovers. He showed in this game. Look, he's been playing a lot better, but again, and then it goes on and does this against Dallas defense. This is why, I didn't like him coming out. I still, I'm not sold on this kid. Probably earned 1 more year, but he better blow out next year, or he's going to probably never be a starting quarterback in this league again. At least not for the Carolina Panthers. So a win there for Dallas. Chiefs over the Browns, 21-7. They get it done, but Patrick Mahomes got hurt at the end of that game. Late in that game, he sprained his ankle. He's got a high ankle sprain. Carson Wentz finished that game in the 4th quarter. He's week to week right now with a high ankle sprain. Chiefs have a tough schedule going down the stretch. They have Pittsburgh coming up. For the holiday game, they have Denver, who's a playoff team. So they have a tough schedule to finish out the season. It'll be interesting to see, how they handle Mahomes. They're 2 games ahead of the Bills right now for the 1st seed. And the Bills get the Patriots twice and the Jets. So that might be 3 not so hard wins for the Bills. So, so Chiefs gotta be careful. They don't want to lose the 1 seed. Because that's the difference between, getting a bye in the 1st round, and now you get to avoid the Bills until the conference championship, and then you're at home throughout the whole playoffs. And then if you have a 2 seed, now you have to play, like a gritty Denver or gritty Chargers team, and now you're playing, and then now you play, a tough Steelers team on the road, and if you get through that, now you got to go to Buffalo. It's a much harder road, so see how they handle that. Texans up with Dolphins, 20-12. Houston, they've definitely taken a step back because that line is really bad. It's terrible. I like the defense is very good, but they're not really a true contender. They're in a bad division. They can do to 9-5. Dolphins are up to 6-8. 3 picks for 2, including a pick 6. God, he is so mediocre. They cannot believe the Dolphins gave him $220 million. Tyreek Hill, has just not been good this year. The end of his career might be approaching us. He was a ghost. Jalen Waddle got hurt in this game. Dolphins are so bad on their own. And by the way, I think it's time to start talking about Mike McDaniel. He is 3-15. His team's over 500. They're terrible on the road under him. They're terrible against good teams under him. I think it's time to move on. He's a nice guy. I'll take him as an offensive coordinator, but he's not a good head coach. He's just not. Dolphins are 6-9. Can't believe that team is that talented. They're a freaking 6-9. No, Tua didn't play for a bunch of games, but still, come on. Jets over the Jaguars, 32-25. That was the toilet bowl. Obviously, just got to 4-10. Jaguars are 3-11. Who cares? Aaron Rodgers did play well for 289, 3 touchdowns. Huge game for Devontae Adams. 9 catches, 190 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I hear a lot of people saying that they just should bring back Aaron Rodgers next year. He's been playing well. Look, he's played better down the stretch. Let's be honest. Yes, you look at his numbers, 63% completion percentage, 3,200 yards, 23 touchdowns against 8 picks. They don't look too bad. They look pretty solid. But those numbers are overrated. He's had, the game against Minnesota, he was horrible with 3 picks in that game. Game against Seattle, up 2 touchdowns, throws a pick 6 in the red zone, and then chokes down the stretch. He's missed key throws all year. He had key turnovers all year. He's had a couple of games where he did not play well. This guy's supposed to be, an MVP candidate. This guy's supposed to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I get he's 40 years old, but still, he's got to be better than how he's played this year. He has not played well enough. He's gonna be 41 next year. Get second year off an Achilles. I know he was come up with Achilles. He was on the injury report throughout the year, and now he's finally not. So maybe he's finally getting help. But he's gonna be 41 next year. He's only going to get worse. Not everyone is Tom Brady. They can be 43 and still throw for 5,000 yards. Also, the team that he had is also very, very good as well. I do think they should still move on after the season. Maybe if there's no true way to fix this, but to draft a guy and have him sit behind Rodgers for a year, maybe because this team this is a talented team on paper. Maybe get an actual coaching staff in there, but I still think you should move on. To me, it's only going to get worse with Aaron Rodgers because he's going to continue to decline. Commanders over the Saints, 20-19. They get to 9-5. They're on a true contender. Obviously, only beat the Saints by a point, but I think they get the job done, and they will be in the playoffs almost definitely. Saints up to 5-9. Raven's over Giants, 35-14. Lamar just picked the Giants apart. 5 touchdowns, ran for 65 yards. He had one play, he was running up here, he was pulling his pants up as he was running. Giants still couldn't tackle him. The other half of the game, he said he felt wind like going in his butthole, basically. So he started pulling up his pants. He's like, oh, maybe my pants are falling down. So very, very weird scenario there. But Ravens, as expected, just mow over the Giants. Another sign over the field. But the second week in a row, it said, Mr. Mara, something like enough is enough. He won't stop till you fire everybody. Yeah, Giants 2-12. See what happens with the Raiders later. But right now, the Giants have the first pick. Ravens going to get to 9-5. Bengals over the Titans, 37-27. Will Levis threw 3 picks, including a pick. He got benched. He's done. He will never be a starting quarterback again. He cannot be. He is so bad. He's been bad. He's horrible. Beyond bad. He was never going to any level. Mason Rudolph is a better quarterback than him. Stop. Do not put him back in there. He's not. That team is so bad. 3-11 now. Bengals trying to hang on by a thread. They are 6-8 now on the year. And then another nice game from Joe Burrow. We did have a couple turnovers. Arizona beats the Patriots 30-17. Patriots up to 3-11. They gotta move on from Draw, man. The guy is not a good coach. Every week they just not competitive. You no accountability with that guy. It's bad to me as I've seen from a coach in a long time. He's got to go. Arizona keeping pace in the AFC West. It's 7-7. Broncos over the Colts 31-13. Colts were up 13-7 at the half, and then a 24 unanswered from Denver in the second half. Only struck in the first half quite a little bit better. In the second half, defense comes up big. And versus another game where he was very erratic and threw 2 picks and throw touchdowns. He continues to struggle. Denver's at 9-5. They win next week. They clinch a playoff spot. For the first time they're in the playoffs, I think since they won the Super Bowl in 2000. That was the 2015 season. Bills over Lions 48-42 in a slugfest. Josh Allen, that guy is just ridiculously good. He's got 10 touchdowns and no picks and no turnovers in his last 2 games. I think over his last 3 games, he's got no turnovers. He's got over 1,000 yards. He's got like 14 touchdowns. And the one negative play he had was a kneel down. So not a natural like physical play. None of them have gone for negative yards. The guy is the MVP of the league right now, playing out of his mind. He's just incredible. Bills get to 11-3. Lions are 12-2. More injuries to their defense. Alan McNeil, their D tackle, has a torn ACL. Their corner, Carlton Davis, now has a broken jaw. They have 16 players out on defense. 16. The defense is beyond depleted. They are historically banged up on defense. No wonder they can't stop anybody. I'm a little worried. And by the way, I'm not sure Dan Campbell's sticking with the balance. Like, you get to a 10-play game. There's almost 12 months left in the fourth quarter, and you should you do an onside kick, and that was very, very weird. He said after the game, he said he wished he didn't do it, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not worried about the Lions. I love Dan Campbell. Just that guy is awesome. He's the best. Might be the best coach in the league, honestly. But he's like, we're gonna live and die by my just gutsy decision. If they work, he looks like a genius. If not, he looks like an idiot. It's as simple as that. But he's got him in the playoffs, and he's got to make sure to keep himself in check with that. And they have so many guys out on defense. They have 4 linebackers out. You got third string guys, playing first string reps right now. That's going to be a problem because they can't stop anybody right now. Look, you got 31 against the Packers. Packers are very good. They have a great offense. You got 40 against the Bills. Bills have a great offense. Josh Allen's playing out of his mind, but they are in a little bit of trouble. But still, 12-2 on the year, obviously. The Bills get to 11-3, now only still 2 games behind the Chiefs for the 1 seed. Bucs over the Chargers 40-17. Very good game from Baker Mayfield. The Chargers are a little bit banged up right now. Don't have J.K. Dobbins, your top back. Chargers are up to 8-6. Bucs also get to 8-6. Well, looks like they're going to win that division. Eagles over the Steelers, 27-13. Hurst played well. Obviously, there was a lot of tension between him and A.J. Brown throughout the week. Apparently they quit the air and they played a much better game. Him and Brown and Smith both have big games. Good game from Hurts. Eagles get the 12-2 right there with the Lions. They might steal the 1 seed from Detroit. We'll see what happens. Steelers show up at 10-4. Still a 3 seed in the AFC, but now only 1 game over the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC North. Packers Seahawks. Packers win 30-13 on Sunday Night Football. Jordan Love and that Packers offense played really well. Packers defense comes up big. But Geno Smith looked just okay. He gets hurt in the game. He hurt his knee. Was in a lot of pain. Did not return to getting hurt in the 3rd quarter. And he's gonna get some tests run. We'll see what happens with him. They're very interesting. He's only got 1 more year left on his deal. There's been rumors that the Seahawks are looking to move on. But Sam Howell, who flashed a little bit last year in Washington, he led the league in pass attempts. And at one point, led the league in passing yards. He finished with 3,100 yards, 21 touchdowns, also 21 picks, also sacked as much as you possibly could. And they had the worst defense in the league. He looked horrible. That really bad interception at the end, he looked god awful. Ugh, good lord. He's originally was a 5th round pick. He wasn't very high on him coming out, but he showed a little bit of potential in the first half of the year last year with Washington. Good God, he looked just beyond bad. That's the NFL recap. Monday Night Football tonight, doubleheader. Bears Vikings at 8:30 is Falcons and Raiders. I will catch you all tomorrow. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.